Hey guys, I'm back here, DIY DB, Do It Yourself by Dan B. And today, pag-uusapan natin on how to make an automatic hand sanitizer dispenser. Haba ng pangalan, no? But anyway, I'm not against this one, but the problem with this is that if this is deployed in a place where a lot of people will come in contact, there's a potential that, the moment they start tapping on this to get those sanitizer out, potentially it can be a way of spreading the virus or the germs as well. So we want to get rid of that, so we had to make this as automatic as possible. Okay, so follow me along as we talk about on how to do that. We're going to talk about step by step. So the automatic hand sanitizer dispenser can be accomplished using different components. It can be simply done using an IR sensor or a couple of transistors, a diode, and a bunch of other things. It can be accomplished using different means and ways. Just in case you don't know, a couple of years ago I made a very similar project. It's also an automatic hand sanitizer dispenser, but back then I used Arduino and a servo motor to automate the dispensing of the sanitizer. And this is done using the arm of the servo motor with a string connected, and the moment the motor starts moving, it presses the base of the nozzle and thus releases the liquid out. Today I don't have those parts anymore. I don't have the IR sensor, but what I have is an ultrasonic sensor. So this is kind of similar. This allows to detect any object that comes in contact within close proximity, and the moment an object is detected, it then triggers, and based on whatever instructions you want, it can do something as response to the sensor, triggering effect of your ultrasonic sensor. Okay. I also don't have the servo motor anymore, but in this project we will be using a 5-volt submersible pump. Okay, so the idea is to be able to put this inside our container. Okay, so imagine if this is our container, which is the same container that we're going to use for this project. We have to put it inside, and this basically pumps the water from inside and out and going out from the nozzle here. So it is the one that will automate the dispensing of the liquid. Okay. Since we will be using Arduino, which is something I prefer due to its flexibility, we also need to create a sketch or a program. So what is a program? Well, it's basically a set of instructions telling Arduino what to do. So if you haven't worked or used Arduino before, in the simplest term, okay, this is the Arduino, okay, this is an Arduino Uno variation from the Fundrino. So in a simple term, an Arduino is a microcontroller, okay. So a microcontroller is something that you can have a lot of devices attached into it by just connecting those to those available pins of your Arduino. We have analog pins, we have digital pins, so all you need to do is just connect these devices. So when we talk about the devices, we are talking about, but not limited to, the LEDs, motor, sensors, and others, that once they are connected, you can start working on your program to control them with your set of instructions called Sketch. Okay, so to kind of give you an idea of what we're trying to achieve with our program here, once we have interconnect all this together, the idea is that first, our ultrasonic sensor is there to activate and monitor any objects that comes in contact. So once the sensor knows that our hand comes in contact, it automatically sends a signal to our pump to start pumping water and dispensing it out of the nozzle. So very simple, right? So after that, the pump get de-energized and it waits again for the next contact based on our sensor, and then it reactivates the pump as well. So very, very simple. So to make it more easier, I will be providing a link in our video that will show you on how and where to download our Arduino software, okay, so that we can connect this in our computer and start doing the sketch. And I will also make a quick way on how to set up your Arduino. And by the way, if you're asking me, downloading Arduino and installing it, it's definitely free of charge. Okay, Moreover, if you don't know about Arduino programming, you haven't done any programming yet with Arduino, no need to fret out, because I will be listing the exact program or the sketch that I will be making for this project, and I'll put it in the description link below. So all you need to do, if you don't know anything about Arduino, you can just copy and paste it to your Arduino, and the moment you have it, all you need to do is to upload the program on this Arduino hardware, and the moment the application is already in the memory of your Arduino, you can take it out, put it anywhere, and deploy it without connecting it to your computer. So that's the beauty of it, very flexible. Okay, so component wise, we will also be listing the parts and the components that I'll be using for this project. It's gonna be listed in the description as well, along with a diagram on how we interconnect all these devices. So you will see a very simple diagram on how basically it depicts on how these are connected to our Arduino. Okay, and lastly, of course, if you still have questions, feel free to write them on the comment section, and I'll be glad to answer them one by one. So with that being said, let's get into work. Hey guys, we're back here, and first thing first, let's talk about the architecture and how we integrate all together. So as you can see here in this diagram, this is our Arduino board, and like I mentioned earlier, it comprises of different pins. So we got here on this part digital pins, right here on this side is analog pins. Okay, so let's start first with the sensor. So coming from the sensor itself, it has 4 connectors. One is a trigger, which is, as you can see here, I draw a line here, trigger, and it's connected to pin 10. And then it has another pin here that says echo, and likewise echo is connected using pin 11. So I'll explain about that later on, but for now, let's keep in mind that we have 2 pins that are connected in our digital Arduino pins, trigger and echo. And likewise, the sensor, it has a ground, which is nothing but a negative, which is right connected to the ground here as well. And we got here a 5 volts, which is the positive line, which is connected right to the 5 volts of the Arduino. So that's how we set up our sensor. Now let's talk about our pump. Our pump, as I mentioned earlier, is, as you can see inside here, I already submerged it inside our container. Okay, that's our 5 volts submersible pump, which has nothing but, it has 2 connectors, a positive and negative. So the positive is connected to a relay, okay, and the relay likewise is connected to the 5 volts, which is all the way up here, connected to the Arduino board. So what happened here is that the relay will activate if there is based on our program that we put in our Arduino, and I explain on that later on as well. So we get here the pump, negative connection, it goes all the way up here connected to the ground as well. So now let's talk about the other connector, which is coming from the relay, which is this this green line, which is connected to the pin 8. So that's the sensor of the relay. So what happened here is that if there's, using the sensor, the trigger point or the triggering mechanism of the sensor actually detects the object or the ultrasonic waves or the sound travel, and whenever there's a object detected, it sends that sound travel to your echo. So from the echo we have let me just pull up our program here. So as you can see, this is the program that I made to kind of run this sketch right here. So as you can see here, there's a bunch of these variables. We call this S pump, which is nothing but the pin of the Arduino that we are mapping to this variable. So we says 8, which is pin 8 for our pump. Trigger pin is 10 and echo pin is 11. So that's the same thing that we have here. 11 for the echo and 10 for the triggering point. So that's what we have here. And now coming back up here, the idea is that if you look here in our sketch, the idea here is that first it starts with our triggering point set to low, so it deactivates it first, and then after a few microseconds we start enabling or setting high to our triggering pin. and that's the time it sends, and detects an object, and then it's whatever sound trouble detects by this triggering pin, it sends it to echo, and then here it passes to another variable, sound trouble, which is something that we use to calculate the distance. So what happened here is that if you see this sensor here, if it detects an object within a 10 cm distance, based on our sketch here, less than 10 cm, 10, that's the cm, centimeters, it will activate the relay. So the moment it activates the relay right here, that will build this connection to establish between the relay and the pump, and thus triggering the pump to get the water and take it out right here on the nozzle. So as simple as that. Now let's see how it works now. So what I will do here, this is the actual Arduino connections, similar to what we show here in our diagram. So we get the relay here, it is connected to the relay is connected to 5 volts and ground, okay, and then it has another connector that goes to the pin 8. So as you can see, that's the one, okay. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be connecting this, okay. So what I'm doing is I'm actually powering my Arduino right here via the USB, okay. It needs to have a 5 volts. Now, so what I'll do is, okay, so now we're back with our connection. As you can see, our relay is connected. Likewise, our Arduino board is connected to the USB port, okay. And we already uploaded our sketch to the Arduino. The only thing is that we need Arduino to have somebody to put power it on. That's why it's connected to a laptop. But once we deployed it, we no longer need the laptop itself because the sketch is ready in the Arduino, and we can use a power bank or any 5 volts power supply to power our Arduino, and everything should be running accordingly. So again, this is our dispenser. Keep in mind that I have not really assembled them all together because we are still trying to test it. And this is our sensor right here, okay, and that's the pump. So the sensor should detect an object within 10 centimeters. So as you can see here, as I'm gonna move my hand right off to the sensor, please note that this will dispense our sanitizer. So I'm gonna move my hand right now, and then it triggers here. Move it again, it triggers, right? So that's gonna be the idea here. The moment it detects a sensor, it triggers our alcohol, or the sanitizer will come out of the nozzle, and that is because of, again, the sensor detects an object, it sends and activates the relay, which then energize the pumps, and then the pumps get the water and dispense it right outside of the nozzle. So again, let's see how it goes. So let me move my hand closer to the sensor here and see the water coming out. So it's happening instantaneously. Move again here, happen now. So I think we're good. We made exactly what we'd like to do. So now the next thing we're gonna do is to put everything assemble all together and make sure that this sensor is actually put together with our dispenser. So I think that's about it, and let me know what you think. If you have any questions or anything something to do with our sketch or with our connections, just comment on our comment section. I'll be glad to answer that.